Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the next episode of Talking Sports Stuff and Things with Chuck. I am your host, ironically, Chuck. I'd like to kick this off and get right down to it. Hopefully a lot of you saw, if you're on the Facebook page or checked out my website or Twitter, however it is you check it out, chucktalksalot.com, by the way. I gave away some tickets to the preseason game, which was Thursday down at the stadium. And I had to get right off the rip and just mention Marlene and Mindy, a couple of friends actually known all the way since way back in middle school. Marlene was the one who won the tickets. She was nice enough to take her twin sister, Mindy. And I haven't seen them in quite some time. So, I kept messaging them throughout the game saying, hey, look, I got to at least see you guys before we leave. Be great just to see you, say hi, appreciate, show them I appreciate them listening and all of that. So after the game was over, I went ahead and found them, got with them outside the stadium, hugs, hi, how you doing, talking for a couple minutes. And it took me a little bit to actually realize, but here they were wearing T-shirts promoting this, what you're listening to right now. I believe Mindy got most of the credit, but they were wearing T-shirts promoting my podcast and my website, which completely blew me out of the water. I thought it was so flippin' cool, absolutely awesome. I mean, who does that, right? Like, that is like the ultimate gratitude I think someone could have showed me for giving them some tickets to this game. I mean, my goodness, out there just parading it around for all to see. So if you haven't seen that, jump on my website. There's pictures on there. Also, the Facebook page, Talking Sports Stuff and Things with Chuck. There's pictures on there as well that they uploaded, but also we put some up too that they sent me. I mean, wearing T-shirts with chucktalksalot.com on it, pumping it up. I thought that was amazing. Absolutely blew my mind. So, ladies, thank you so very much. So greatly appreciated. That is a good job out of you. That is a good job out of you two right there. Amazing work. Just great. With that being said, speaking of that preseason game, it was awesome. I mean, my goodness. For it to be preseason, I know it's a preseason game. I know it's game one. I know in the grand scheme of things, preseason games mean less than nothing. I get it. So no one has to go ahead and shoot me the messages of I'm getting carried away or what have you. Absolutely amazing, just atmosphere to be there, finally playing what is at least somewhat similar to real football. To see Baker come out and just take that offense without David Njoku, without Jarvis Landry, without Odell Beckham Jr., and just go bang, 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 bang right down the field, touchdown, was pretty great. Again, I know it's preseason football, but there was, Washington sure didn't do the same thing to us, so apparently it's just not that easy. So it was just really cool to be there, cool to see all of that. Of course, everyone, other than the Baker touchdown to start the game off, the biggest topic of discussion, I guess there was probably two. Of course, Mac Wilson with a couple interceptions, one taken back to the house for a touchdown. Dude's looking like a steal in I believe the 5th round we got that guy. So far looking great. Obviously, long way to go. We're talking about practices and preseason football, but nonetheless, looking like that could be a steal of the draft. And of course, also Sheehy with the big punt return for a touchdown. Now, the moment was awesome. This was late in the 4th quarter. Of course, 90-some% of the players on the field aren't even going to be on rosters here in a couple weeks. But still, super cool moment for him. If you haven't seen his story, go back. I won't get into it. But long story, the guy was sleeping on benches, basically lied his way into a tryout, and then here he is now taking punts back to the house in a preseason game. Now, I also just like to touch on that a little bit because I think even though it was a really cool moment for him, the backstory is awesome, all of those things, it's been blown a little bit out of proportion, and I hate to be Debbie Downer here. I know I'm Captain Positive, and I'm always pumping up the Browns, but my goodness, people are acting like this guy could just all of a sudden be our number 2 wide receiver because he took one punt back to the house in a preseason game. Now, I'm not saying he can't be good either, but everyone just needs to pump the brakes a bit on Sheehy all of a sudden just, that's it, the guy needs a roster spot, put him on the team. That's it. From one play. I mean, it's one single play, regardless of what the play is. If it was a 99-yard handoff, pass, kick, punt, doesn't matter. One play does not get you. I mean, there's plenty of guys in the league that make one play in their career, and then that's it. You never hear from them again. He could be that guy, or he could be the next best punt returner that we had. We could add him to the Josh Cribbses and Eric Metcalfs, and the list goes on and on and on. So, again, I just want everyone to relax a little bit with just saying this guy should make the team just off of that one play. Now, let's see what he does. Look, maybe the guy's just going to just build off of that, and then here we go. He's just going to take off, and maybe he is the next great, I don't know, return man / receiver, even though he's not a receiver. So it'll be interesting to see. Look, I'm hoping. I got the guy's back. I hope he makes it. I hope he just blows up and flourishes. But just one play, we're so reactive to everything so quick. Just on the opposite of that, because this is where he really rolls in. Yes, the disappointing news, Antonio Callaway suspended for substance abuse policy, so he's going to be out the first 4 games. And instantly, when that news came out, it was, oh, that's it, cut that guy. And then that rolls right into cut that guy, and he can take a spot. Again, need to relax a little bit. I mean, I'm not here to stick up for Antonio Callaway. When we drafted that guy, he already had a long rap sheet. He's got a lot of stuff going against him. He can't seem to keep his nose out of trouble. And we already know, I'm not even going to go down the road of who does that remind you of that used to play for the Browns. Well, right. Sometimes when you can't keep your nose out of trouble, it just isn't worth it for the team to just keep sticking their neck out over and over and over again. Now, I don't know Antonio Callaway. I've never met him a day in my life. I can just go off of what I read, all the allegations and different charges that have been brought against him and the ones he's been charged with. Typically has to do with just, silly activity, marijuana being, at the forefront of that. But we can't be so quick. We're so quick to just say, oh, just cut that guy. I mean, because goodness knows all of us are just saints from Jump Street. We never made any stupid decisions in our early 20s. No way. I mean, I know I didn't. I've been on the straight and narrow since day one. So I've never made a mistake. But maybe the rest of you, can get along with what happened to Callaway, because you've probably made some mistakes in your life. And maybe we're not to be so quick we're so just get out, get out, get out. Maybe that's the answer. And if that was the answer, if they did decide to cut the guy, hey, he did bring it upon himself. But again, I just wish we weren't so quick to react in either way. Cut Callaway. Sign Sheehy. He's good. He better be on the team. All those things need to play out yet. We got a ways to go until we get to any of those answers, especially with Sheehy. Callaway, I'm sure will probably still be on the team. I don't think they're going to cut him. I think if they were going to, they probably already would have. It seems as though some remarks I heard from Dorsey that, they had a discussion with him, essentially saying they're going to give him another chance. That's what it sounded like. We got a few weeks before all of that plays out. So again, pump the brakes, guys. So anyway, back to being at the stadium. Enough of all the downside of it, but I have an interesting question. So at the stadium, as I'm walking through there, all right, first preseason game, looking around, it's so great to finally see people wearing, the people that actually play for the team, wearing the jerseys, I should say, the Bakers and the Myles Garretts and the Denzels and OBJ spread out there, Landry, on and on. All the players you hear me talk about week in and week out, everybody wearing these jerseys finally. But then you still got the people that insist on wearing the old jerseys. Now, I guess it's a gray area, I guess I would say. So, if you want to wear a Josh Cribbs or a Jim Brown or Otto Graham or something, those make sense. These are considered Cleveland Browns greats. I mean, Cribbs relatively new. Is he an all-time great? I don't know. He's up there with some of the stuff he did, but either way, he's a fan favorite. He played here for essentially his entire career. Those sort of things are acceptable, but the people walking around wearing the William Green jersey, or of course the Johnny Manziel. I saw a handful of Johnny Manziel jerseys. Why would you wear that? It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. And don't give me the line of, well, I paid for this thing. Okay, at this point, it's been years ago. You've wasted more money on that on a Friday night at a bar or at dinner or on something stupid you didn't need to buy. Get over it that you spent some money on it. I'm not telling you to buy another jersey. You don't want to spend $100 on the jersey? Great. Get a Browns t-shirt. You could even call me up to borrow one. I have roughly 4,992 of them. I'll let you borrow one for a game just so you don't have to wear your Johnny Manziel jersey. I mean, we have so many good players on this team now that if you want to wear a jersey, the options are endless. Endless. And everyone's always like, oh, you just don't want to buy a jersey because you never know when the guy's going to be gone. Get a Baker jersey. He ain't leaving here for the foreseeable future. You'll be just fine getting you a Baker jersey if you're that worried about it. Or if you don't like any of those, just get a t-shirt. Cleveland Browns t-shirt's pretty cheap. For about 20, you can find them for 15 if you want, but for about 25, 30 bucks, you can get you a sweet one. I just got my latest one in the mail today. 30 bucks. Awesome t-shirt. Can't wait to wear it. I'll be wearing it Saturday to my company golf outing. So how do you guys feel about the old jerseys? I'd like some feedback on that. Like, am I way off base? Am I just coming out of left field here? Like, who cares? Maybe you don't care. I don't know. It bugs the heck out of me, especially these ultimate failures. Like Johnny Manziel, you cannot wear a Johnny Manziel jersey. You just cannot do it. I have one, folks. I got one. It's hanging up in my closet right now. I've actually never worn it because I bought it. I got it autographed by the guy, and it will never be worn, regardless of whether it was autographed or not. It's never going to be worn ever again. This stuff I'm never wearing that. Brady Quinn jerseys. I mean, the list, I don't even need to go into. Everyone has, if you're a big Browns fan like me, you have a graveyard of them in your closet too. But that doesn't mean you have to wear them on game day. Just don't. So anyway, give me the feedback on what you guys feel about that. I think it's silly, especially because we have such a long line of people that when you wear the jersey, there's so much that goes along with it. So many stories because we've never been a normal franchise for the past 20 years with so many failed players and draft picks. So I know the line's long and I know we all have a bunch of those jerseys, but man, it drives me bananas. Absolutely bananas to have these people wear these jerseys of players that aren't here anymore, especially now this younger generation that's trying to come up. They don't even know who those guys are, so don't even introduce them to them. They don't need to know who Gerard Warren was and who we should have taken instead of him. They don't need to know that. Let's move on. Let's go on the positive, the up and up right here. It's bad enough people don't even know some of the current players on the team. Like at the game on Thursday, I sat in my new seats and was introducing myself to all the people sitting around us. Hey, are these your seats? Are you going to be here every game? Cool. My name's Chuck. I'm loud and obnoxious, so hope you're cool with that. So I'm introducing myself to everybody. And a woman sitting next to me, really nice, older woman, super great, so cool that she was even there. She says, when Drew Stanton came in the game, she says to me, who's that guy? What's his name? And I'm like, that's Drew Stanton. Is he our backup quarterback, right? Yeah, that's our back. Yeah, that's right. That's our backup quarterback. So it got me thinking, like, poor Drew Stanton, who now I guess with me, I'm sure there's plenty of quarterbacks that fit this mold over all the years if you name all the great quarterbacks, but, I haven't gone through that. This is new for me, new territory, having a good quarterback and knowing who your starter is before you even get to the preseason or whatever. So I really thought that maybe someone like Drew Stanton should do everyone a favor and do like a scoreboard promo, right? So on the scoreboard, it comes up like right before the game starts, and it's like Drew Stanton, with no helmet on, just in his jersey with no pads, kind of throwing the football to himself, how they do in those little promos, and he can kind of just, kind of look at the camera and give one of the like, "Hi, I'm Drew Stanton. You probably know me better by my more popular name, Baker Mayfield's backup quarterback. Hope you all enjoy the game today. I'll be wearing number 5. You all have a great day." And that way, at least we know who he is, right? And then the fans will know, and this, oh yeah, Baker's backup. It's Drew Stanton. Of course. Now I know, and I think it's a good public service announcement to make, just to get everyone in the game. Or to know who the heck is playing, and if they don't know these new faces or even care, because we don't have to care who the backup is anymore. Great. I think it's a great job. That'd be a good job out of them to get that done. So moving on from the Browns game, I think I've covered that enough. Anyway, you know how I feel about it. Loved it. It was great, and so on. But I want to get to something that I read. Actually, just it was either yesterday or today. I came across this quote, and it definitely struck me. It was hilarious, and so I'm going to use it now for the rest of my life, and especially on this podcast here. So what I read is said, the most degrading thing you could ever say to someone is, "Who the hell is this clown?" Now, at first I'm like, really? That's the worst thing you could say? But when you break it down, it's great. Because for one, it implies that they're a clown, right? So you're already slapping them in the face. And B, they're not even one of the better known clowns, right? Because you're like, who the hell is this clown? So they're a clown, and they're not even one of the better known clowns. You know who they are. So that's something I'd like to use moving forward when someone kind of, earns their way into being called a clown. And we can ask, who the hell is this clown? And that brings me right to my next point. My first example of that would be Antonio Brown. who the hell is this clown? I mean, holy smoke. I will say I'm sure Steeler fan is just rejoicing in the fact that that guy's not on their team right now. I'm sure they're just loving every second of that. And I get it. I wouldn't want that guy on my team either. I mean, just what a train wreck. But just to real quick to double back to last week, that doesn't mean that you can replace his talent, okay, from the last several years. So I know we already had that argument, and I've already got a lot of feedback on it. I won't dig back into that, but this is a separate conversation from the fact that the Steelers' offense is still missing Antonio Brown, and they don't have someone to replace him. And it's not Washington. So anyway, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the story. The guy comes out. He's got frostbite on his feet, so he can't practice, and this is going on and been going on, and all of a sudden the stories are coming out in the last couple of days that it seems like it's really, really serious, and he could miss lots of time. This isn't just like, oh, he got a little frostbite. Seems like it's really, really legit and serious. So on that note, I mean, I hope the guy's okay. But I find it interesting that after it's been coming out that it's getting worse, all of a sudden, then the helmet story breaks, right? The helmet story breaks that he tells the Raiders if he can't wear his helmet from last year, he's retiring. He's never playing football again. And then even to take it another level, I don't know if you guys heard this part, he got caught. He actually took his old helmet and painted it himself. He painted it himself, Raiders colors. He tried to paint his old helmet to look like it was a Raiders helmet, in which he obviously got busted. So this guy has gone from best receiver in the league, finally got his big payday, to then getting thrown out of Pittsburgh. Well, I mean, he wanted out, whatever. Whatever. So he now is playing for a terrible team, and now he gets the frostbite, and then he goes through this helmet thing. My take from it, what I'm thinking is, do you really think this guy is that worried about his helmet? I mean, do you really think that's why he'd retire? I mean, do you really think that he had to go through all that? Or is this, I think there's two outcomes that are possible of this. One, the dude's just trying to cover up the fact that his feet are so terrible and that's essentially his fault. So how else can I hide that? Oh, I know. I'm just going to go crazy again. Because the dude went off the rails to get out of Pittsburgh. Got out of Pittsburgh, been pretty normal for the most part. And then all of a sudden when something goes wrong again, now he's just off the rails again. So I just think he's trying to distract from the fact of what happened to his feet. And he can blame it on somebody else like the league and what have you. And then it's either that or the guy just doesn't want to play football anymore. And maybe he doesn't. The guy has a ton of money. Maybe I don't know how much money he's got. I don't know what the guy does with his money. But maybe he realized, look, I got all this money. I don't need to play football no more. And because there's been an interview where he said that. I don't need football, which is fine. And I have no problem with that. But it almost makes you think, to me, I would feel like once somebody says that, then they already feel that way. Because we all know if you're not all in, and that goes with anything, you don't have to be football. If you're not all in, it's obvious and it's noticeable. And so maybe the guy is already half checked out and he's just going to slowly work his way out. Maybe he won't play again. Maybe he will. Only time will tell. We're going to, get through that. But it's just an interesting concept to think about. Again, maybe the guy just doesn't want to play football anymore and he's going to start, this is his way out. Maybe getting the frostbite on his feet was the last draw and he's like, what the heck with it. So only time will tell. But Antonio Brown, congratulations. You are our first Clown of the Week award winner. So it's a good job out of you getting the Who the Hell Is This Clown nomination. So what I'd like to say here is anybody out there listening, if you want to nominate someone for the Who the Hell Is This Clown, send it to me. I'll give it to you like I do every week. ChuckTalksALot.com. Hit that up. Easiest way. All the podcasts are on there. All the platforms are on there. And you can also contact me straight from that website. There's a spot right at the bottom. If you want to just do it from your own email, chucktalksalot@gmail.com. chucktalksalot@gmail.com. Pretty simple. So, let me know who you guys want to nominate. Maybe that's something we can start putting on here every week. Let's get a Who the Hell Is This Clown going for each week, and we'll see if you guys can get me a winner, or if I pick someone who dominates, but maybe we'll throw a couple out there, let people vote on it, what have you. We'll come up with something as we go, but I thought that sounded pretty cool to do. So who the hell is this clown? Let me know who it is. So moving on from football, let's get to the Tribe, baby. The Tribe. Yes, who are tied for first place. The Tribe who can't beat good teams, remember? They can't beat anybody good. Oh, except for the first place Twins, who are one of the hottest hitting team in all of baseball this year. We took 3 of 4 from them in their house. So we can beat the teams. We're rolling along right now. For those not paying that close of attention, I believe it was since June 4th. I could go back and double check that, but since June 4th, the Indians are like 41-16 or something ridiculous like that. That's incredible. I don't care who you're playing. It doesn't matter. Baseball is a very, very fickle sport. So the fact that they're doing that good, they're on that kind of roll. They were 11 and a half games back. I mean, this is one of the greatest comebacks in the history of baseball. And I feel like it gets kind of swept under the rug. And I know it's because it's football season almost, and that's what people want to talk about. But if you like baseball at all, this is exciting. And now from here on out, this is going to be down to the wire. Every game means something. Every game is big. So pay attention if you're a baseball fan. If you're not, maybe this will get you in. Maybe this will get you on it. I mean, the Indians are back and they are on fire. And something that I think gets overlooked is that we've done all of this still. We haven't had Corey Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger missed a bunch of time. We're still where we're at. If you would have said at the beginning of the season that none of those guys were going to be playing and we would be tied for first, I think I would take it. Now, granted, nobody saw the Twins coming like this. Everyone thought the Twins were going to be good. They obviously didn't see this coming. So had you known the circumstances that, hey, the Twins are going to play like this and you're not going to have any of these pitchers and you're still going to be tied for first come August, I'm pretty sure we all would have taken that. So kudos to Tito Francona and just to the Indians. Kudos to them for making those trades. I know we went on and on about the trade, but I'd like to hear your answer back to this now. Would you rather have Puig or Bauer right now? Talking right now. Don't talk to me about before or what's going to happen. Right now, was the trade worth it? Would you rather have Puig or Bauer? Now, and of course, we got other players that are contributing. Now, I know Reyes is off to a slow start with the Indians. Also, you got to take into effect that this guy's used to playing the outfield every game and then batting. He's now just a DH. So that's a new realm for him. I know it doesn't seem like maybe that's a big deal, but I think what the guy's doing is he realizes he's got 4 maybe chances, 5 chances maybe per game to impact the game because he can't make a throw or he can't make a catch. He has to just hit. So he's out there swinging out of his shoes, and he'll come around. I mean, obviously he'll come around. So people are kind of a lot of people are in that same boat with him as they were with, as I just mentioned, with Callaway and Sheehy. It's a flop. That was a waste part of the trade. Again, I wish people could give us everyone more than 5 minutes. So Reyes will come around. You heard it here first. Breaking news, hot takes. Reyes will come around. So yeah, hit me back. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Was the Bauer trade the right move so far? Or would you rather have Bauer in the rotation right now? Or do you like it? Do you think it was the best move to keep us going forward? So, hit me back with that. Let me know what you think. And by the way, as I mentioned, they beat them in Minnesota. So I've been doing a lot of reading after those games and, just getting some input. And I came across a super interesting story that I think everyone out there will love. There was a woman reported that one of her friends, so this woman's a reporter, and actually one of her friends was at the game. And she came up to her to let her know what had happened. She had got a citation from the Minnesota Twins. And what the citation was for was because she used the F word. And apparently someone overheard her, one of the employees, I guess, overheard her say the F word. Now, from how it was described, she wasn't even in her seat. She was actually in the concourse. And she was just using it in conversation. So look, what we all do. I know I do. I mean, there's only 2 times I don't swear, really. It's around kids and when I'm making this podcast, in case kids want to listen. So, but I do use select language a lot of times as I'm expressing myself. I don't have to be upset or mad, just basic conversation. Adjectives. I look at them as adjectives. So apparently this woman was just in regular conversation, wasn't being loud or yelling. She was just talking. And apparently someone overheard, so she got a citation. Now, it's not like a ticket. She have to pay for it or anything, but it's something to let her know that, the conduct policy and how you should present yourself because it's a family-friendly environment at their stadium. Now, I get that to a point, but I guess, to expand on that, as I'm reading through the comments of this, my goodness, what was just blew me away was how just the first of so many of these comments is, yeah, I don't want my kid hearing that. Oh, my kid. It was always kid, kid, kid. I mean, what about the kids? What are we going to do about the kids? They might have heard a swear word because I'm sure they never hear it anywhere else. And I'm just going off of what I read. I'm not implying or just assuming. These were comments. There was thousands and thousands of them. And so many of them were coming from people expressly saying that in particular. Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't need to talk like that at the stadium. My kids are there. You know, it's always comes back to what about the kids? You know, when Baker chugged the beer, go ahead, go on any social media, find the video, go through the 10 billion comments that are there. You'll find so many people talking about, yeah, way to be a great role model, Baker. Oh, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go to that game. My kid would have seen that. Like, when did this happen? What is the deal? Now, and let's not, people like to blame kids for these things. Oh, kids these days, right? No, this is parents now. So this is people, a lot of them my age. What happened to you that all of a sudden you think that these kids are just, their lives are going to be over if they see a guy chugging a beer or they heard a woman say a cuss word? I mean, holy smoke. I mean, I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure, I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure every kid made it out of that stadium alive after the woman said the F word. I'll double check on that. So I just don't see why all of a sudden, like, we all just think our kids are so fragile. Now, it's one thing, look, if you got some belligerent drunk guy standing up and he's just screaming F-bomb after F-bomb at the field, but okay, I get it. But, I mean, the people to react towards this woman in this way over that, like, am I out of bounds here? Am I the one that is just, am I being ridiculous for thinking it's not a big deal? If you think it's a big deal, please let me know. Please. I need to know. If I'm wrong, let me know how so I can hear about it. Because I don't know, man. All of us, I'm reading through this just, what about the kids? I hope they make it out alive. Whew. Just, wow. Got me a little going, and I got into a whole bunch of arguments on Twitter about that. So it was very interesting to say the least. And if that bothered them, then they sure wouldn't want to hear about this next story that I heard. So this brings me back to a couple stories I've told a couple times that people seem to like on here that I get secondhand, and things that like I hear in my daily routine that kind of freak me out. And this was one of them. A friend of mine was his company was interviewing for a position, interviewing for a job. And apparently, person showed up for the interview. They called him on in. Come on in. We'll get you in here. And by the way, before I go any further, I should say this person should also thank Antonio Brown because since I already gave it away, I can't. But we need to ask who the hell is this clown right here is what we need to ask. So the interview starts, and apparently it's pretty apparent right off the rip that this person is under the influence of something, and apparently probably alcohol. So very shortly thereafter, they, of course, are going to end the interview because, they came to the interview drunk, which, wow. So as they then realize this happening, they end the interview, they ask the person to leave. The person will not leave. They become then very belligerent. So then all of a sudden, they probably mistake the interview for, I don't know, they're at a bar downtown and it's 3 a.m. and they're telling him to get out and he wants to fight the bouncer. And apparently all of a sudden the interviewer became the bouncer. So they became to the point so belligerent that they had to call the police. And the police had to come and get the person out of the building and then get the person home. Now, I'm not sure what came of that. I don't know if they were arrested. I'll try to get more details and fill it in maybe next week. But where I find this hilarious is, first of all, so this person woke up in the morning and was like, man, finally got that job interview today. Need to get me a job or a new job, whatever it is. I'm going to celebrate already. I'm just going to start doing shots. I already got this thing in the bag, baby. I'm just going to start doing shots. And then maybe it's got away from them. Maybe they tried to just have one to celebrate prematurely. Maybe it got away from them. I don't know. Look, we've all been there, right? So then what I find hilarious about it is, so then when this person gets home, I don't know how old this person was, but they go home to whether it's their mom or wife, husband, brother, friend. Hey, man, I remember you had that interview today. How'd it go? What? You got arrested. How are you going to get arrested at a job interview? That is so new to me. I mean, I've not gotten a job before. I've definitely felt like I've bombed an interview or done really well. I never felt like I didn't get hired because I was wasted during my interview. You know, like, so Chuck, what is it you think you can bring to our company the reason why we should hire you? What do you think you could do us? I'm pretty sure I can take at least 9 shots of tequila and still do this interview. Exhibit A right now. So I thought that was an amazing story. I thought that was super funny. I just can't believe someone got arrested at their job interview. Again, as I've said before, just when you think you've heard everything, you then hear something else. And that is getting arrested at a job interview. And they had to call the cops on you. Flipping fantastic. Good stuff. So if, people have been sending me in some stories. If you got any stories out there that I should tell everyone about, like this one right here, please let me hear them, because not only does the world need to hear them, but I just want to laugh at them, we're almost out of time, but I'll throw one more in there then too, because this is something I think I should get feedback on. Something that blows my mind. I know I've talked about drivers in the past, and people really reacted to that story, so I'll throw this one in there with the turn signals last time. On this one, I don't get the fact of when someone does something wrong, like pulls out in front of you, then they flip you off. So I'm still trying to piece that one together, because it just happened to me last week. I'm coming down the freeway, and I'm in my big giant truck that I drive, and the right lane is just completely backed up traffic. Well, I'm going to be getting the exit to the left, so I'm just rolling along. Now, I'm only doing about 40, because of course traffic is moving along, but stopped in some place, a pretty big traffic jam. And there's a little gap, few car gap between my truck and the car in front of me, several cars. So out of nowhere, a car that's in the stopped lane to the right just whips right out. Bam! They decide they're going to go. Well, of course, I'm driving a big truck. It doesn't stop the greatest. They just whip right out there. So I jack the brakes, and I give them a little bit of the air horn. Just a quick tap, just a quick. I didn't give them like when people announce themselves at my house. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, knock, 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 knock. I didn't even give them that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the last podcast. So I didn't even give them that. I just gave them a quick air horn. Immediately, what do I see come through the middle of the front seats with their right hand? Middle finger. Bam, middle finger. So you pulled out in front of me. I had to jack on my brakes as to not kill you. I gave you a little horn to let you know you're still alive, and I get middle fingered. What in the world how do I get middle fingered when you are obviously at fault here? I can't even begin to wrap my head around it. Like, I wasn't even all that mad. I mean, I wasn't throwing fingers or mad. I don't really let that kind of stuff drive me crazy. I just kind of gave them the horn so they realized they did something wrong, and to look in their mirror and realize there was a truck right up there, you know what? And instead, I get middle fingered. So, I mean, I just usually don't take too much. I don't get too upset about it, because for the most part, when someone does something dumb driving, they don't do it on purpose. Most of the time. Sometimes they do because they're just in a hurry and they're trying to do something. But for the most part, people don't realize they made a driving mistake till they made it. And maybe this was one of them. But so if it was, why give me the finger? I mean, I know when I'm on the freeway, I like to not die. So I tend to do things that stop that from happening. This person obviously wasn't worried about it. Maybe they didn't see me. I don't know. All I know is, how do I get middle fingered when you pulled out in front of me? I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was another crazy driving story, and I'm sure I'll get some feedback from all you guys, again, as I did with the turn signals, saying, yeah, I know, this guy pulled right out in front of me. Bam, middle fingered me. It's insane. So anyway, point being, don't get so mad at when you're driving, people. We're all out there just trying to get from point A to point B. There's no reason to flip somebody off. There's no reason to get so hot-headed. It's just driving. We're all, we all think we're the best, and we think everyone else sucks. But just remember, when you think that, every single other person you're with on the road thinks the same thing. So anyway, I'll get off my high horse. Thought that was a pretty funny story. I thought I'd throw it in there just to end this real quick to get it up. So anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Just to recap real quick, again, you want to get a ticket to the home opener against the Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns against Tennessee Titans. All you got to do is, when I post the link to my podcast, just share it. Don't just like it. I need you to share it. Share the link to the podcast. follow me on Twitter. Either one of those two things will get you entered into the tickets. And if you've liked the page, that gets you in. So like the Facebook page, follow the Twitter page, at Chuck Talks a Lot on Twitter, Talking Sports Stuff and Things with Chuck on Facebook. Follow and like both those pages, you're automatically entered. Every time you share or retweet a link to the podcast, you are entered. All right, very simple. And we'll do a big drawing here in a couple weeks to get someone that ticket. So that being said, thank you all for listening. Hope you liked the episode. Give me the feedback. Get at me. ChuckTalksALot.com. ChuckTalksALot@gmail.com. Been getting a lot of feedback. I'd like a lot more. Give me topics, reaction. Give it to me all. Guys, love y'all. Talk to you soon. Be good. And remember, don't look down on someone unless you're helping them up. We'll see you.